Here. Okay, it's Tuesday and we have made it. So, moving on along, let's see if you guys can see me and we will get from there. A little itch on the leg, but we'll get the get the game going. Tic tac. Okay, here I come. I can see me. That's a good thing. Let's see if you can see me. Nobody yet. There we go. Krista, healthy disrespect. Adam, Pennsylvania Mama Bear, Prep Rebel, Heaven's Fire, Beautiful Day, Don Quest, North Whittington. Okay, cool. Happy Tuesday, guys. It's been a wild day here. It's storms move in, storms move out, storms move in. It was literally so dark here at 8 o'clock this morning. I mean, the sun was already up. It was so dark you thought it was 9 o'clock at night. It was pitch black here. I could hardly see the street, and that's 250 feet from my house. So, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, got out there today after the first wave ended, about 10:30 this morning or whatever, and decided, all right, I got to go check the gardens, and pulled out a dozen decent tomatoes. Again, had to throw out five or six probably. At least the advantage is the big tomatoes are coming in fine. The medium ones are the ones that are getting blossom end rot. So at least I'm getting the softball sized tomatoes, which are nice. A couple of peppers. It's still early for peppers, and my corn's starting to finally come in. So I pulled about a dozen ears, the ones where the silks had gone brown. But my corn's going to kind of come in stages this year because, of course, I had something eating up my seedlings. And so there's like three different rotations of corn in there. So my corn is like on an angle. So picking the first ones out, but I've got what, 60, 70 plants in there, I think. 60 something, I think. So that should get me 100 or so ears of corn, which is good. Most of it's going to go in the freezer, though Mrs. P and I did cheat. We had to eat one of them for dinner tonight. So we had a little bit of corn on the cob, which was really good, really sweet and good. But yeah, then I came in, I was like, okay, I got to start making my garden plan for next year and figure out what I'm going to grow next year based on what my harvest is this year. And so kind of figuring that all out. So I finally put it together, figured out what I want to grow. So we'll get that all going here in a couple of months when the beds are, for the most part, put to bed. We'll have stuff growing all the way up till Halloween, but that ain't that far. I mean, you figure we're at the end of July already, guys. So, August, September, October, poof, and we're in the fall. So that was that. If you've caught what was going on overseas today, I guess Israel attacked Hezbollah in Lebanon today, in Beirut, and took out the leader of Hezbollah. So that was a good thing. One less terrorist on the face of the earth always is a good deal. Not going to complain one bit. And then, of course, you have the fun stuff with the election here, which is, I still get such a kick out of it. You're starting to hear the media say, oh, Kamala Harris has come back. She's catching up. She's tied. There's a couple of polls that are even saying Kamala Harris is in the lead. Until you look at the details, it's like, oh, well, we oversampled Democrats. It was another one today, 825 or something like that Democrats, 600 Republicans, and 500 independents. And Trump was only up by 1 point. Going, okay. You surveyed an extra 30% of Democrats and you're still losing. I'll take that. You got to remember, she's got to win the popular vote, the national popular vote, by about 5%. Otherwise, she'll lose. Okay. Because it doesn't matter if you get 13 million votes in California, Trump gets 6 million. Who cares? You still only get the electoral votes that they have. Like, that's Hillary Clinton. It's like, oh, I won by 3 million votes. Take California out, you lost. Okay, lost the popular vote. So, yeah, overall, not getting overconfident, but I'm certainly not getting worried. Was kind of humorous that Kamala Harris put an ad out today that she's the one with the plan to fix the border, and Trump is the one who's blocked all the attempts to stop the immigrants coming across. And I'm thinking to myself, what office has Trump held since 2020? Interesting. I mean, it was the biggest gaslighting, lying ad you can imagine. And I mean, it came out, a couple hours ago, and it just got bludgeoned on social media with the, I can't believe you're spreading this kind of lie crap. And then, of course, you've got the big rally in Atlanta tonight, which is funny because Kamala Harris is doing a rally, and I guess Trump's doing a rally later this week. Maybe it's Saturday, I'm not sure, in Atlanta. And the Democrats are going, oh, watch this. Kamala's going to have more people show up in Atlanta than Trump is. I'm like, yeah, I'm betting he pulls 4 times the crowd. So Kamala's rallies tonight with the rap artist Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, this is the skanky wannabe hooker that's a rap artist, just nasty language in her songs. And even with the rap star there, they couldn't fill the stadium. Just saying, okay? They pan around and go, oh, look at how big the crowd is. And you put it up on a little bit bigger screen, you go, look at all the empty seats. Got it. Okay. And they could have an excuse of, well, gee, it's Tuesday night and traffic's bad and people have to go to work. No, sorry. And then the other part is I'm betting is most of the crowd in there is there to hear the music and could give a rat's ass what the cackling hen has to say. But yeah, it'll be kind of humorous. I get a kick out of when a presidential candidate needs to bring a whoremonger in to bring the people in. But I guess what it takes one to know one. So that was about that. But that was what was going on around today. Besides the deputy director of the Secret Service getting his ass handed to him on Capitol Hill today, listening to senator after senator after senator just destroy him. I don't know. I don't have that handy. It's like, great vote of confidence. When the FBI's answer to everything is, I don't know. Got it. Okay, good. Way to conduct an investigation. I mean, the agency you work for is only the Federal Bureau of Investigation, not the Federal Bureau of I don't know. So that was that. All right. One housekeeping note before we get into tonight. There will be no live stream on Saturday night. I will be at my high school reunion. So 40th high school reunion this Saturday night. So that is where I will be. So y'all get a Saturday night off for me. Like Robert said, go fishing. So that was about it. All right. So let's get into some Q&A. As per normal, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps. The only rule, as you guys all know, is treat each other in here politely with respect and dignity. Okay. I have absolutely zero patience for anybody that doesn't. I don't care whom. Okay. If you're going to be rude and obnoxious, you will get tossed. I don't care if you've been a subscriber since I had three subscribers. You will get tossed. Okay. The whole point is fellowship, camaraderie, learning stuff from each other, not to bitch and moan. You want to go bitch and moan, do it on your own channel. Okay. I'm not going to do it here. All right. So let's get into Q&A. And let me get up to the top here, see where you guys are. There's all the 5x5s. Paula McGuire, Food City had flyers for Dollywood, 2 days for $50 to swim. Yeah, considering how much rain they got down in Pigeon Forge and Sevierville, you could probably swim through all of Dollywood right now. They got dumped on Sunday, Monday, one of the two. I mean, just flooding rains down at Dollywood. So, yeah. Not fun. Circe, we never get blossom end rot on tomatoes, but this year a few paste and grape ones. Toss them, ripening soon. And of course, I see buffering. Okay, don't tell me that the word tomato is going to get me buffered. Okay, I know I had to change the title of today's video because that was restricted immediately because they don't like the words of, driving in traffic when you're the king, or uh, when you've got a kid to put him down to sleep so he could be napping. They don't like those words on YouTube. And so, yeah, got to be careful on a couple of those. Hope you guys put the pieces together there. Yeah, but yeah, I got the blossom end rot. Like I said, I mean, today was about a third of them. So, Kathy Acevedo, hello from Pennsylvania, making some more elderberry syrup. One of my elderberries died, so that sucks. It looked like it was going to make it in the spring, and it didn't. The other one's doing okay, but it's a little early for berries for us yet. So, doing all that. But I lost one of my trees, or bushes, or whatever you want to call it. I think it's because of where we put it when they were growing up front here. They were loving life. I mean, they got huge fast, and we had to transplant them, and we put them out back. And I think it's just a little bit too little sun for them in the backyard. But it's what it is. You live and you learn. Krista Cat, when is the latest I can plant collards, rutabaga, and turnips? I don't know. I don't plant any of them. So I don't like collard greens. I've had them. I'm not a fan of them. I haven't had rutabagas and turnips. God, that's got to be 40 years that I've had them. Yeah, I don't plant them, so I don't know. Tomatoes still growing strong. I plant them after they are done. Yeah, this year I've got determinate tomatoes. If you know the difference between determinate and indeterminate. Determinate tomatoes are determinate anythings. Put all their fruit on basically at one time, and then they die. Indeterminates will fruit until they basically die from a frost. So I've got determinates this year because the plan was we were going to get a whole bunch of big tomatoes and we were going to make sauce out of it. That didn't happen when I'm throwing away half my crop. I mean, I still got a dozen tomatoes there, which is probably 5 pounds, but by the time more are red, and with me being out of town, these will have started to turn, and so we're doing what we can, but so you can a couple of tomatoes, keep them in the fridge as best you can, but the best you can. And I see we're buffering again. It must be the word tomato. They don't like tomato tonight. It's the second time, same time I'm talking about it. Healthy disrespect. What would you do with green beans that grew to about 2 inches, very skinny, and then stopped? Ooh, you got stunted plants. That usually happens when it gets really hot and the plants get really dry. That's usually the cause for stunting. Unfortunately, I'm betting that if they're very skinny, they didn't grow any beans inside. So what you've got is bean pods. Are they edible? Sure. Okay. But you're not going to be able to store those for anything or whatever. I mean, I'd take them and throw them in salads or, in a stir fry or something. That's about the best you're going to do with those. Off-grid living. My basil plant is huge. Can I freeze the leaves whole? Why not dehydrate it? Okay, that would be a better idea. If you've got a dehydrator, do it that way. If not, put it on a cookie sheet on a real low setting in the oven, say 100 degrees, 125 degrees, and just let it and dry it out there, and then break it all up and put it in a spice jar. Yeah, I would. The problem if you're gonna freeze it, it's not gonna come out. It's gonna come out like mush. So Think of what anytime you've ever froze lettuce or something, it's going to be the same thing. It just bleh, So, no, I wouldn't freeze it. I would dehydrate it. James Trump 24 price. Kamala said she's coming after our guns. What's my response? Yeah, I saw that this evening. She goes, if Congress doesn't do something in the first 100 days, she's going to put a uh, gun confiscation in as an executive order. And my response is, sure. You just have to take all my ammo first, and I'll give it to you one round at a time. Okay. I mean, that's the pandering of all pandering. There is no possible way, first off, legally, that she could do it, okay, because it's a violation of the Second Amendment, period. Okay. Second off, there is no possible way on God's green earth that the American public is going to go, oh, okay, Kamala, here's my guns. Not happening, ever. Okay. I don't care if they get a federal law and Supreme Court says, yeah, that stands. I don't care if they make a constitutional amendment to overturn the Second Amendment. They ain't getting them. Ever. The people will not give them up. Sorry. It's just not happening. And you're not going door to door to collect them. It's just not going to work. The people in the United States are not going to voluntarily give up their guns, ever. So, all her comment is just pandering to her base, going, "Look, I'm doing something." No, you're not. You're just spitting out bullshit out of your mouth that anybody who's got anything between the two ears goes, not possible. Da, 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 da. Our urban homestead been busier than ever, stocking the freezers and canning. It's that time of year. Yep. The harvest is coming in on a lot of things. I mean, like I said, tomatoes coming in for me, corn's coming in. I've been picking beans, peppers are starting. I mean, I'm done with cabbage and beets. I mean, God knows what else you guys are growing. I mean, I've already pulled my potatoes. But yeah, I mean, this is the time of year where it's nonstop. It's like, okay, we get up in the morning, you're peeling potatoes or skinning tomatoes or making sauces or fruit. I mean, me and Mrs. P making jams and jellies and wine that's sitting here in front of me. Yeah, this is the time of year where you're processing all that stuff. And while it keeps you extremely busy, in December and January, you're really happy you did it because it's like, oh, I've got fresh food to eat. And, the way groceries are going, who knows how long it's going to be till we can afford to go to the grocery store. Country Humans Network. Do you think I can grow beets, beans, Swiss chard, and turnips in a 4-inch pot or 1-gallon containers? No, I'm not sure, and no. Okay. 4-inch pot, forget it for any of them. That's not going to happen. A 1-gallon container, maybe the Swiss chard. Okay. The beets, no. The turnips, no. The beans, certainly no. First off, you're not going to grow one bean plant. I mean, great. That's going to get you 6 beans. So what? Okay. Beets and turnips, no, that feasibly grow too big to be in that pot. I mean, mind you, a 1-gallon pot is, this big around, 6 inches. No, that's not going to work. The Swiss chard, maybe. Okay, but you're not going to get a big plant. In the ground or bigger pots. That's all I can say. James C, is that? Thank you for the super chat. Love your channel. What's a good survival site? Okay. I mean, I don't know what you mean by survival site. Is in survival website, or are you talking about a place to go or whatever? If you're in it, I'm going to take a guess because you didn't say website. I'm going to take a guess that you mean physical. I would get as far away as you can from urban America, preferably in the woods somewhere and near a body of water. That would give you the majority of what you need, the materials you need to get shelter, water, which obviously you need, the potential to hunt, to fish, to forage, to do whatever. So uh, I'm hoping that's what you asked, but I'm not sure. North Alabama hiking. Pinball, I took your advice from Saturday night's live stream you gave me about breathing while shooting a handgun. That plus new techniques I learned really helped me improve. Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah. Low left is 99% of the time that's a breathing issue. So good. Uh, Robert says, remember, folks, nothing to put the channel at risk. I appreciate that as a heads up and a reminder. Reminders are always good. Uh, Running Warrior, Megan the Stallion, is that one of the horses in the Olympic equestrian? No, I think that's actually one of the prostitutes that was sent over there, but don't quote me on that one. Let's see. You know, I still get a kid. Megan the Stallion. You do realize, Megan, you are female and a stallion is male. So unless you're telling me you're sexually confused, yeah, you might want to rethink that. Kevin Little, I saw the White Dudes for Harris ad today. Did you see the Twitter account got blocked or suspended by Twitter for pornography? Yeah. But I saw the White Dudes for Harris ad today. Trying the good old Blue Jean beer and apple pie USA made me sick. Pronounce her name Kamala, too. Yeah. Clowns. Exact. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the White Dudes for Harris that were there, talk about a bunch of cucks and a bunch of beta males. I mean, this, like I said this morning, I mean, who was it? Admiral Levine and Dylan Mulvaney were on the call. Okay. There you go. That's who you're associating with, guys. You know, there's the White Dudes. Yeah. They're trust me, it's not a testosterone fest there. Whoops. Shot to the bottom. Okay, I gotta find where I am again. Here's the White Dudes one. Marie Schneitman, what high school? Birmingham Groves. So yes, so that's where we are heading up to here this weekend. So that'll be fun. Haven't been up there in 40 years. Really don't care about the people up there, but it's like, all right, I'm gonna go up. Like I've told everybody else, my whole thing is I want to see the head cheerleader who's now 260 pounds. I want to see the most likely to succeed, who's driving in a 72 Pinto. And then I've seen some of the pictures of the guys that really got picked on in high school. It's like, damn, you know what? Congratulations. You look like you succeeded in life. I was kind of in the middle. I mean, I wasn't a jock, the popular group, and I wasn't the one who was, picked on every day. I told you that story one time. I just kind of fell in the middle somewhere. Never really cared. See, what got me is I didn't grow up with all those people. We moved there before the year I started high school, or no, I take it back. It was the year we started 8th grade. So I'm at the end of middle school, beginning of high school, and I'm just meeting people. So it wasn't like I had 10 years. I grew up with this kid. So no, never really cared. Ender, love your channel. Do you have any advice on a good ham radio? I've looked at a few and I'm not sure how to go about picking one. I am not the person to ask about ham radio. Okay. I've got one. Thank you to DOSSFC. I've even got the little Baofeng. I've had the material to study for the ham radio test for 7 or 8 months. And I get through 3 or 4 chapters and then I don't do anything for a couple of months and I forget it all. So I'm not the one to ask about ham radio. There's plenty of channels out there that can tell you better than me. That's one topic where I am nowhere. I won't say not an expert. I'm not even a novice. Okay. I'm not The person asks a single question on that. Whistling Dick, how big was my class? 442 people. It's kind of hard to forget because remember the old Olds 442, and considering I graduated in 1984, that was a popular car at the time. McFaddy, how many watts per solar panel do I have? Per solar panel, I've got 390 watt panels. I've got 4 hooked up to each one of my generators, so 1,560 maximum watts. The generators will take 1,600 a piece, so I'm good. But when you're checking stuff like that, make sure you check the voltage and the amperage too, because you can't go over, otherwise it won't work. So, not all panels are the same. Rob S. Pinball, have I ever heard of Alan Lichtman's 13 Keys to the White House? This is the guy who just came out and, he's predicted almost every presidential election correctly. And, and he says that Kamala Harris is going to win this year. Now, if we go back, and let's just take a look at the elections since I've been able to vote, okay? Reagan Carter, there was a tough one to pick. Reagan Mondale, there was a tough one to pick. Then the next one was Bush Dukakis. That one wasn't very difficult to pick. So then what we had 92 was Bush, Clinton, and Perot. That one wasn't easy to pick, but once you threw Ross Perot in there, it got a lot easier. 96 was Clinton Dole. That was pretty easy to pick. 2000 was Gore Bush. Nobody could have picked that one. Bush Kerry was an easy pick. Obama McCain and Obama Romney were 2 easy picks. Trump Clinton was not an easy pick. So in my voting life, 40 years, there have been 2 elections that were 50-50. And he missed one of them. Big deal. Your 13 keys to the White House ain't rocket science. And picking Kamala, you're now going to be 1 for 3 in the not easy to pick ones. Healthy disrespect. Didn't I go to high school in Chicago? Will I be wearing armor? No, I did not go to high school in Chicago. I went to high school in Michigan. I went to grade school in Chicago. I went to high school in Michigan. I would have, if I would have stayed where we were in Chicago, I would have gone to Downers South High School. So, Downers Grove. Laura's story. Do I grow June-bearing strawberries or ever-bearing? I grow June-bearing. Not really by choice, because one of y'all sent me 5 strawberry plants a few years ago, and they just happen to be June-bearing strawberries. I prefer the June-bearing strawberries because I get my whole harvest, for me, about the 3rd week of May. And that means all the preserves, jams, jellies, whatever we make, and all the wine gets done, and my strawberries are done in a week, 10 days, and we're done, okay? And I don't have to worry about that bed anymore. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a few strawberries to pick on here and there and eat, but you have, forever bearing fruit plant like that, you really have to have massive patches, because I'm not going to go out and pick the 2 strawberries that are there every day. So you're going to wind up losing a lot of them. They're just going to rot in gardens. So, original one shot, one kill. Pinball, what does your crystal ball say will be the false flag? Do you think war with China or something instead? What would I think? I don't think it's going to be war with China. Because China's notorious for playing the long game. I still worry about something going on in Ukraine that Joe wants a last ditch effort. Zelensky wants a, because Zelensky knows as soon as Joe's out of office, the checks dry up. Okay. That's why all of a sudden, right after the debate, Zelensky's going, yeah, I need to start talking about the ceasefire. I mean, literally, he did. Okay. About a peace treaty. Joe may try to do something. The issue that they've got, and notice this in the now week and a day or 2 days since Joe has said he's not running, we haven't heard squat from him. Okay. Yeah, his intern or whatever that handles his social media account is still posting lies. But what have we heard out of Joe? Nothing. Who's running the country? I mean, we know Barack Obama's running the country, but who's the figurehead? Notice today is the first public appearance that Kamala Harris is making in 9 days since being anointed as the candidate. So is she running the country right now, even though Joe hasn't stepped down? How's that all working? Venezuela is going to be an interesting issue, considering what's going on. There was a couple of rumors that were coming out today that Maduro has fled the country, which means he's coming to the United States because we take anybody. So if you see Nicolas Maduro, just be aware there's a $15 million bounty on his head. So if you see him, collect that. I'll just leave it there. Adam Hoffman, how do I get rid of fungus gnats? If you've got them now, you're screwed. Okay. You get rid of fungus gnats before you do the planting because you need to, before you put your plants in the soil, you need to not sterilize, but you need to kill the eggs of the fungus gnats that are in the soil with boiling water, because that's where they're coming from. The soil that you planted, whatever plant you got in, that you bought in a bag or did whatever, had fungus gnat eggs in it. And when the plants got nice and warm and a little bit moist, the eggs hatched. And now you got fungus gnats. And so, if they're house plants, use a bug bomb. That's going to be pretty much your only choice. If you got them outside, nothing you're going to do about them. Our urban homestead, Mr. P, how can I get my cabbage starts for fall bigger? Plant them earlier. That's it. There is no magic way to make plants grow more. I mean, you should put some fertilizer in with them, in in your seed starts. I mix a little 4-4-5 in or 3-4-4 in my seed starting mix. Some compost tea would be good to fertilize it with. Make sure you dilute it out, at least about 10-1. But I mean, you can't, singing to it or whatever, it's not going to make the plant grow bigger. The only way you do that is by planting it earlier. Jojo Erkey, what is my opinion on Harris's commercial? Guys, please do the typing before you hit send. Being able to love who you love, and okay, I'm guessing that's RuPaul's stage. I really don't care. I mean, if you want to be gay, be gay. That's up to you. Okay, I don't. The government doesn't need to be in our bedroom. I agree. But your sexual deviance does not need to be in our classroom. That's where I disagree. We don't need to see all the guys with their junk hanging out, walking around city streets and stuff like that. And I mean, if you talk to the gay community, they're disgusted by this whole trans ideology crap. They don't want, they disassociate themselves with it. And, if somebody wants to be gay, go be gay. I don't care, right? You wanted to get married. We all said back then, we know this is going further. No, we promise it's not. Sure enough, 10 years later, here we are. Okay. Uh, you want to be gay, be gay. I don't care. Don't bring it around my kids. Don't bring it around me. Okay. You know, as far as I'm concerned, what you do behind closed doors is fine. Call it going back in the closet. Fine, do that. Okay. But no, the world does not need to make special exceptions for your sexual deviance. That's it. Sunset, how many hours ago did Israel strike Lebanon? It was sometime for us, I believe somewhere around lunchtime. So 8 or 9 hours ago. Don't quote me on that. Inigo Montoya, feelings on satellite phones. Waste money. Uh, do not bother with the satellite phone. First off, they're expensive. Okay. And second off, if we get hit with an EMP or something like that, the satellites are going too. So now what you just have is something that you're paying an ungodly amount of money for. That doesn't work. James, thank you for the super chat. Says, hey, Pinball, I received a job offer in Sevierville, and now I'm having a tough time locking down a new apartment from Suffolk County, Long Island. Okay. Yeah, Sevierville is an hour and a half, almost 2 hours from me. I mean, I know where it is. I've been there. Trust me. When we came and flew out here from Vegas to look at this house and a couple others, we actually stayed down in Sevierville. So yeah, I was driving all the way up here. So yes, I know the drive. When you say having a tough time locking down a new apartment, I'm going to take, and again, this is me guessing, all right? I'm going to take a guess that there aren't any available apartments versus the cost of the apartment. Because if you've got an apartment in Long Island, a cheap apartment in Long Island is what an expensive apartment goes for down here in Tennessee. So I'm guessing that's the deal. I mean, you got Sevierville, you got Pigeon Forge. The hell else is down there? I mean, the problem that you get with being there is that's all tourist area, and traffic is just crazy. If you can get, and I don't know where you're working because going down the highway, getting into Severe, or I don't say highway, it's a state highway there, getting into Sevierville. I mean, you could spend easy 20 minutes to get from the interstate to wherever you're going, depending on where you are in Sevierville. Unfortunately, I don't know that area well enough. It's too far away. I mean, I've been down there a few times, but that's it. But I don't know the area well enough to give you a hand on that one. Sorry. Let's see. Fastball 2611. Pinball, how do you think they will protect Trump? The Secret Service sniper says there's going to be another attempt on his life. Yeah, you notice how that got scrubbed too. The hearing the clips, because I didn't watch the whole thing, obviously, hearing the clips between Cheadle's last week and the FBI today and stuff like that, I'll say the same thing I said the other day. Trump better hire his own security and send the federal government to bill, because there's no way on God's green earth, if I'm him, I trust the Secret Service to protect me, because they are. I mean, it's a clown car over there. The incompetence is unbelievable. Now, sure, there's some good agents and stuff, but I mean, I even look. I mean, Trump himself is even trying to be nice. Oh, the agents that jumped on me and took me down, they really did their job. Yeah, right. The woman that was this high, and left Trump's head open. That was. I mean, the women that are running around going, "Duh, what do I do?" No. The incompetence was on parade that day. I would not. They can be there. I mean, his comment today was the director of the or deputy director of the FBI Well, it just takes a little bit of imagination. We never figured that somebody do something like this. You're the freaking Secret Service. Your only job is to make sure it doesn't happen. You have one freaking job to make sure that nobody takes out dignitaries. Guess what? You failed. Okay. Oh, in nobody's imagination would this be done. Gee, really, in nobody's imagination could somebody make an attempt on a president's life. Really, have you paid attention to the news for the last 8 years? The vitriol that's spewed out there against Trump? You know, you have 30% of the population of this country who is so mentally deficient and so flippin' stupid, that they'll listen to anything that Don Lemon or Anderson Cooper says. Joe Biden. Well, we need to put a bullseye on him. I mean, what the hell did he say yesterday about when Mike Johnson said that his Supreme Court fiasco is dead on arrival, and Biden comes, so is he, and they're like, the speaker? Yeah, the speaker's dead on arrival. Really, Joe? The the talk out of the assholes on the liberal side is feeding violence from the left against conservatives. And I mean, if I could rewrite the world, if I could rewrite the Constitution, on day one of Trump's presidency, he would put a mandatory law into place that liberalism is illegal. If you want to be liberal, you're deported immediately. Don't care where you go. We need to eradicate liberalism in this country. That's it. The mindset has got to be exterminated. Running Warrior, does mint really repel deer? I don't know if it repels deer. I know they don't, kinda, because I know they won't eat like peppermint plants. It's good to plant mint around some of your plants that deer would go after. But it's not like you're going to go drop peppermint patties out in your, York peppermint patties or something out in your yard, and the deer are going to go, oh, Joe, you can't go in here. I guess it does. I mean, I've got peppermint spray. I think I've told you guys about this because the mice have a tendency to get in the engine compartment of my truck. So I spray the engine compartment with peppermint spray. That works. Obviously, a deer's a lot bigger than a mouse. But the only thing is, again, I'll say like anything else, you can try it. Hopefully it works. But I can't, a lot of these questions, I really, especially on the critter questions, I didn't have that problem in Vegas. I didn't have that problem in Boston. I mean, there weren't a whole lot of deer running around the suburbs of Boston. Okay. And I didn't have the problems where I was living in Indiana. And I mean, that covers the last 20 plus years of my life. So 25 years of my life, 27 years of my life, which is pretty much all my gardening. I'm kind of experimenting with some of this stuff too. I mean, Billy's bone sauce, I talked about that a couple of years ago. That works. I've got some. It's just very expensive. Somebody was talking about on Saturday night's live stream, the deer fence. I forget what they called it. But it's like a spray thing fence. Try that. I mean, I don't know if mint really does, but give it a shot. All you can do is try. It may, I mean, again, it's like other stuff. It may work for you and doesn't work for me too. That's the thing. There is no one size fits all. Love peacocks and raccoons. Do I think women who live around bikers should move? No. Why? I know bikers. A lot of them are really good people. I will say this about bikers. They are loyal till the day is long. If they're a bunch of drug dealing, murdering people, yeah, maybe then you want to get out of that area. But Hollywood makes a lot of bikers bikers out to fit that stereotype, and that's not everybody. Okay. Uh, I'll tell you this though, if you are friends with them, they'll do anything for you. They'll protect your ass like nobody else will. Uh, I can't, I can't pigeonhole bikers into one group. Okay, it's no different than I can pigeonhole blacks into all being Democrat. It's the same stupidity. There's good bikers, there's criminals. So you gotta, if they're criminals, yeah, get the hell out. Okay, if they're dealing meth down the street, I'd probably get out. If there's shootouts on Friday night at the end of your block, I'd move. Steve Hendrickson, in the event Trump loses, what are some ways to be part of the resistance? There's going to be enough people. Okay, and we can kind of look at Venezuela just for what's going on, because we're quickly going to become the same way, because they cheated once. Why the hell won't they cheat again? And that's the only way Kamala Harris is winning, is if they cheat. Okay. You cannot tell me she went from the least popular vice president ever, the person that the Democrat Party was trying to figure out how to get off of the Biden insert name here ticket, and a week later she's the second coming of Christ. No, she's not. She doesn't have a chance in hell of winning unless they cheat. If they cheat, there's going to be hell to pay. Now, who's going to do what? I have no idea. Do people go marching in the streets like they are in Caracas? It's very possible. Do the police and the military abandon, in this case, Kamala Harris, like they've abandoned Maduro? That's very possible. Okay. What I think we should do is hunker down and protect what you got. Let the chaos go crazy. If the chaos comes to you, get involved. But I've said this over and over and over again. Don't go looking for a fight. It'll find you. Travis Mellon, around how much did I spend on my solar system? About 17 grand. So that's between generators, the smart panel, the installation of, because the electrician's got to put the smart panel in, and then buying solar panels and having the solar panels put up. So, and I know people could say, oh, you can do it yourself. And okay, if you got master electrician skills and you're comfortable going in and rewiring your main breaker box, go for it. I don't play with electricity like that. Okay. Getting on the roof and putting solar panels in, yeah, you could do that. And maybe you're doing a solar panel array in the yard. Sure, you could do that too. Okay. Personally, I'm not a big fan of being on the roof. Okay. Got this little thing with heights in me. So, yeah, no, I had somebody else do it. And I know this, how can you be a prepper if you don't do everything yourself? Because I'm not an idiot. That's how. I know my limitations. I can learn how to do things, but I'm not going to do things that could potentially burn my house down. Let's see. Appalachian American, thoughts on picking the tomatoes early to get in front of the blossom end rot? I'm having the same problem. Okay. The thing with tomatoes is tomatoes ripen from the inside out. Okay. So once you start to see it turning on the outside, look at this. This is about the greenest one I picked today. Okay. And you can see it started to turn. There's some red. I'll leave this tomato by the rest of the tomatoes because what tomatoes do, vegetables do, is they release ethylene gas, and that's what causes the vegetable to ripen. So by putting this around my other red tomatoes, this will ripen. So not a problem there. It's not going to have the deep as the deep rich flavor as the one you left on the tomato on the vine until it got completely red. I never recommend leaving one on the vine until it gets completely red because that's just an invitation for bugs and animals to go after it. Okay. This one is a little earlier than I usually pick them. Here. This is about the best time to pick a tomato when it's probably got about 50% of its color. It's not going to get any more flavor at this point. You're pretty much good to go there. So picking them early, yes. Picking if they're completely green, don't bother. They will not start to turn red. Margaret Pritchett, you can freeze tomatoes to save and then cook them for sauce. Also, they're much easier to peel after freezing. We did the freezing deal last year. Somebody had recommended that. No, it's not easier to peel. They're much easier to peel dropping in boiling water when they're fresh, not when they're frozen. When they were frozen, it was a mess. But I mean, it's the same thing boiling water, whether they're frozen or not. But then you've got a half frozen, half thawed out tomato, which was just a train wreck. But yeah, I mean, that's the only thing weren't going to do with these tomatoes. I mean, these are slicing tomatoes. These aren't paste tomatoes. So, but we wanted to make salsa or something along the lines out of that, and freezing the tomatoes for salsa, not so good. We probably figure out something to do with them, but we'll see. Fried green tomatoes, they're okay. I've had them a couple of times. They're okay. Michael Eversberg, Pinball, my blueberry bushes are doing well this year. Thanks due to the bird netting my son put up for me. Yeah. The berries are blackberries, blueberries, stuff like that. You got to protect them from birds because, I mean, the birds will go in there and clean out your berry bushes in an hour. No problem. You got to watch them real quick when they're coming into fruiting time, and you've got to be picking daily on the bushes. Gunnar Grossbach, what are the chances of Turkey actually invading Israel? Okay. Anybody who's been around here for long enough knows I am not a fan of Erdogan, and I personally believe that Turkey should have never been allowed into NATO and should be kicked out because Turkey acts like they're the one that's going to make all the decisions and everybody else is going to do whatever they want. Israel's an ally. If Turkey invades Israel, how do you figure, and then Israel obviously would retaliate, okay? Just like when Hamas did something. Israel, of course, is going to retaliate. So how do you deal with something like that? You've got Israel, who's our biggest ally in the Middle East, and then Turkey, who goes, Article 5, you have to come defend us. So what, we're going to defend one ally against an attack from another ally? No. Turkey is no ally to the United States. Most of NATO is no ally of the United States. The only thing NATO wants from the U.S. is money. That's it. They don't want our troops. They don't want our equipment, unless they get it for free. Okay. They want money. Give us money, give us the equipment, make sure we don't have to defend ourselves. You do it for us. The typical socialistic liberal bullshit that Eastern Europe was thrilled to get out of 30 years ago. Western Europe said, hey, you know what? It didn't work for you, but we'll do it better. Socialism experiment number 97. 96 times it's failed, but we'll do it better. We'll skip that question. I don't do okra questions. Off-grid living, we're roughing it. No dehydrator, no working oven. Yeah. I guess every dinner's in a frying pan. Okay. Yeah, that's roughing it. But okay. Well, no, but I mean, if you're living off grid, I mean, depending on how hard you're living off grid, you're completely off grid. Well, you're not completely because you're on the internet. But yeah, I mean, if you're cooking out over a campfire every night, yeah, I'd say that would be roughing it. But you can still sun dry. That's still something that you could do. Unless, of course, you're going to tell me you're off-grid living in the Seattle area and it rains all the time. That would be the next part. Frank Drebin, I have to resubscribe to my morning videos 6 out of 7 days a week. Now, again, this morning I had to subscribe to the lunch video too. They must be scared of you. I don't know, and it's not just me, guys. I know this is going on because I see it, and it's usually on Saturdays. It seems like it's Friday night, overnight, where YouTube goes, all right, it's time to screw it, everybody. Let's go take 50 subscribers. Because I see the subscriber numbers and I just go, doink. Like, okay, was my video that bad yesterday? Now look at the video. It's like, oh, you added 4 subscribers on the video you made yesterday. But my numbers are down 50. So I know they're just unsubscribing people. And all of a sudden, throughout the day, it comes back up. And I've talked to other content creators, and they're all the same thing. It's, they don't know what's going on. I mean, the morons running YouTube are, they need to go work for the Secret Service, because then they can have a stupidity contest. It's like today having problem. It was taking 45 minutes to upload a video. It usually takes me 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, I mean, my videos, they aren't super long, 10, 15 minutes tops. Takes 2 to 3 minutes to upload it into YouTube. Okay. Today was taking 45 minutes. And of course, I go on to Down Detector. Sure enough, YouTube is having problems with people uploading videos. It was just a week ago. There was another issue with YouTube. It's like they changed the stuff. You guys know me. We went to the horizontal vertical thing on here. Told you about the 2 words. They changed stuff. Don't beta test it. Don't tell the content creators who, by the way, YouTube, without content creators, you got no business. You should be taking care of us. And they just leave us to fend for ourselves. Go, oh, I guess I got to figure it out on the fly. So, Josh Brazil, this is a good question. If the U.S. was to split into multiple countries, what should happen with the Constitution? Would one of the new countries keep it or start over? Is there anything you would change in the Constitution? Well, you can eliminate the 18th and the 21st Amendment because the 2 of those canceled each other out. I wouldn't write all the amendments as amendments. I would write them as the body of the Constitution. No, I mean, there's, with the exception of maybe bringing the language into the 21st century and making it a little more clear so that we don't have all these people trying to split hairs on, well, when the Constitution was written, they didn't know that we'd have semi-automatic weapons. They were just talking about muskets. No, we just need to have, change bear arms into right to own any weapon and leave it at that. You want to own an F-16, you want to own a tank? I mean, you can legally own a tank in the United States, no problem. Okay? You're not going to buy ammo for it, but you can legally own a tank. They'll decommission the firing mechanism on the whole thing, but like I said, it's not like you're going to go buy 55-meter shells or something like that either. But you can buy a tank, you can buy a fighter jet, they'll sell it to you. You're not going to get sidewinders, and that ain't happening. Uh, but yeah, you can have all that sort of stuff. I mean, and again, common sense comes into play. Gee, you know what? They passed a law that said in order to have a fully automatic weapon, you got to have this tax stamp or whatever. And the people accepted that. Okay, if the people accept it, then nobody's got a right to bitch. If the people raise hell about it, then maybe we go back. But what happens to all the other, I mean, you could have 4 different countries that all adopt it and say, yeah, we're going by these laws. So, of course, you'll have California, the West Coast and New England area, they're going to go, oh no, we need to have, free health care for all. Nobody has to go to work. And, we want to populate with illegal aliens. They want that kind of constitution, and they'll starve in a year. So, all right, guys, that is 9 o'clock. So have a good evening. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.